Okay,
We'll call to order. We'll have a mover and a seconder for confirmation of the minutes.
So moved.
Second. We'll call for the question. All in favor?
okay, next item on the agenda is the adoption of the agenda.
Make a motion to adopt the agenda. Second motion.
Anybody wish to speak to that motion? I'll call for the question. All in favor?
Okay, so reception of public hearings and delegations. There are no public hearings this evening and there are no other planning matters. Oh, sorry, under other planning matters, there is a zoning bylaw amendment request for bylaw from community planning.
I'll make a motion. Whereas Keystone Planning District has received a zoning bylaw amendment application from Victor and Natalie Bujo. Whereas the bylaw is required to amend the Cornwallis zoning bylaw. Now therefore be it resolved that we hereby request community planning to draft the amended bylaw as required.
Seconder for that motion? Does anybody wish to speak to that motion?
No.
Straightforward. I will call for the question. All in favor?
Next item on the agenda then is delegations. There were 2 registered delegates, but they have not arrived yet, yeah. So we could maybe go back to them if they arrive. Reports of committees.
None.
Seeing none. There are no petitions. Communications, item 7.
I'll make the motion. Get resolved, the following communications be received and filed.
Anybody wish to speak to that motion? Call for the question. All in favor?
Next item is accounts and finance, approval of accounts.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes. I'm sure you have assistance on the Jerry.
I actually had assistance from.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't realize. I didn't know that. Phil.
Yeah.
Sorry. I'll back away.
I
I got
just-
circular. I didn't realize that.
That's it.
Just saw what everyone else do.
Be it resolved that the following payroll and general accounts be approved for payment as follows: 84,191.75 cents, 176,645.40 cents, 144,875.48 cents, including accounts and indemnity and direct deposit payroll of 29,496.11 cents to the total of 435,181.74 cents. And be it further resolved that the following utility accounts be approved for payment as follows: $598.81 and $123.81 to the total of $722.62. And be it further resolved that accounts and indemnity accounts in the sum net total of the amount of $5,257.33 be approved.
Seconder
I'll
for
second
that.
that.
Anybody wish to speak to that motion?
No, again, I apologize. I didn't realize. Kurt.
I-
Yeah, I just saw with Emil out there. Yeah.
I didn't want to volunteer. I thought about saying that yesterday, so I phoned on up. I can make that whatever, and then sure, the volunteer get is where I spent 2 hours this morning. Consolidating checks and everything else, check.
Yeah, no, that's.
I'll call for the question. All in favor?
There are no authorized expenditures, and so the next item then would be financial statements for the 6 months ended June 30th of 2021.
I'll make the motion, be it resolved, financial statement for the first 6 months ended June 30th, 2021, be hereby received as presented.
Seconder for that motion?
I second the motion.
Anybody wish to speak to that motion? I'll call for the question, all in favor.
Next item on the agenda then is bylaws. So item 9.1, bylaw 1698-02-2021, noise bylaw, second reading.
Need a mover for that.
I make the motion. Be it resolved, we do hereby give second reading to the bylaw number 1698-02-2021, being a bylaw to regulate and prohibit the making of noise within the municipality.
Anybody wish to speak to that motion?
Forward, sir.
Call for the question, all in favor.
The next item then is the noise bylaw, third and final reading.
I'll make the motion. So that we hereby do third and final reading of bylaw number 1698 or 2021, being a bylaw to regulate and prohibit the making of noise within the municipality.
Second the motion.
Anybody wish to speak to that motion? I'll call for the question, all in favor.
Item 9.3 then is bylaw 1699-03-2021, maximum speed limit, second reading.
I'll make that motion, and get resolved, we do hereby give third and final reading.
No, second. reading.
Second.
The second. Sorry. Get resolved, we do hereby give second reading to bylaw number 1699-03-2021, being a bylaw to establish the maximum speed limits.
Seconder for that motion?
I'll second.
Anybody wish to speak to that motion? I will call for the question, all in favor.
Item 9.4, bylaw 1699-03-2021, maximum speed limit, third and final reading.
Need a mover for that motion?
I'll move that, so you I screwed up the first time. Be it resolved, we do hereby give third and final reading to bylaw number 1699-03-2021, being a bylaw to establish the maximum speed limits.
I second the motion.
Anybody wish to speak to that motion? Call for the question, all in favor. Nine.
9.5, bylaw 1670-04-2021. This is a zoning bylaw amendment for first reading only.
Resolved. Hereby give first reading to bylaw number 1670-04-21, being a bylaw to amend Cornwallis zoning bylaw 1664-03-2016.
Seconder for that motion?
I second the motion.
Anybody wish to speak to that motion? Call for the question, all in favor.
Item 9.6, bylaw 1701-05-2021, service sharing agreement, 2021, or sorry, service sharing agreement.
Need a mover for that bylaw?
I'll make that motion. Please resolve, we do hereby give first reading to bylaw number 1701-05-2021, being a bylaw to authorize the RM to enter into an agreement for service sharing with the city of Brandon.
Seconder for that motion?
Second.
Anybody wish to speak to that motion? Call for the question, all in favor.
Item 9.7, bylaw 1701-05-2021, service sharing agreement, second reading.
Mover for that motion?
I'll make that motion. Be it resolved, we do hereby give second reading to to bylaw number 1701/05/2021, being a bylaw to authorize RM to enter into agreement with furniture in the city of Brandon.
Anybody wish to speak to that motion? I'll call for the question, all in favor? Unfinished business.
There is no unfinished business. Under general business is your RCMP policing reports from Blue Hills area.
We need a mover.
I make the motion, Chairman.
Okay,
Be resolved that the RCMP policing report Blue Hills area for the period April 1st, 2021 to June 30, 2021. Submitted by Staff Sergeant Clint Pretender, I hope I pronounced it right, be hereby received as presented.
seconder for that motion?
I'll second it.
Anybody wish to speak to that motion? I will call for the question, all in favor?
Any inquiries this evening?
I have none. Anybody else?
I don't have an inquiry, but I don't have an inquiry, I just have a sort of hypothetical not in the back of our CEO and staff regarding the work done on our books, checks and accounting last year in regards of the report from census. I think they're doing a great job. And I even know more after I went to the books today, how much work there is involved, the different line items and so on to do this. So job well done. Thank you, Donna. And we pass it on to
Make sure
your
Yes.
Kyowa staff. Sorry. I had to one moment.
That's okay. We all have those.
It's
moments.
it was an eye opener. Like, you know, it's done stuff similar, not similar, but not in that depth. So
Inquiry?
I think Bob's the senior, so I'm the junior, so he's first. You got anything? I got one. So, over the last number of years, I know COVID's really thrown a monkey wrench, what we can do, especially with the technology. I'm just wondering, so this fall comes around, if we shouldn't have strictly a taxpayers' information. You remember, like, the lagoon was one, the ATV bylaw that we introduced, just, I wouldn't say free for all, we need structure, we'll sit down and structure questions and all that. Just if there's any questions out there, especially when budget is gonna be around the corner, if we have it in October, November, just to give people an opportunity to ask questions and like this bylaw thing, when I had a couple of inquiries, that bylaw, what transpired here is when we were asked the noise bylaw and the inquiries, it's too bad they didn't log on. And we could have explained it to them. I brought it to the table saying, councilors shouldn't get a phone call from gravel pit owners. I need a noise exemption when I go 24 hours. That should be a council decision. I didn't feel last January, February was 2 months that I
Didn't sleep right.
well, didn't sleep right. The residents out there, there was two crushers going. That was the intent of bringing this bylaw to the table. Somehow in the mix, ATVs and bikes and all that got into the equation. I think we need to, it'd be kind of nice
To give a better clarification.
better clarification to the public. Hey, we're not perfect here. We can't identify everything. I would just like the public to have input. Or budget is coming up. Have you guys, anybody in south, east, or west, do you have anything that council should consider basically to review? Maybe they see something out there. I don't want to make it a complaint session, just a information, what we do as a council, and we'd like to hear from them. Just something in the fall bill that something to consider. I'd say a 2-hour meeting, but I do agree it will need to be structured, so we don't make it an argument or thing. Just, I mean,
No, I
we've
totally
got some
agree.
good projects coming up here. Let's,
Yeah.
We got the Spruce Woods.
Could we
Chamber.
also, like before we have the meeting, maybe for people that don't want to come or whatever,
Yeah.
just forward their concern,
Yeah.
either an email or something to me, whatever, a week before, and then
Yeah, absolutely. And if it's only half an hour, it's half an hour, but I think we should separate it from a council meeting, but I'm still of the opinion it needs to be a structured question and answer period. For example, that Chater informational meeting about the wastewater, we got a lot of good feedback out there. It clarified a lot of things. People felt ease to answer those and to encourage them to ask questions, because I think that's how you engage your community.
Well, I know there's some concerns. I've had a couple of people ask me about what's happening up on Grand Valley.
Yep.
About the water situation.
Yep.
Saying
Yeah.
there's a lot of people up there that are really, really concerned.
Well, and there would
About
be
the
our
new
opportunity.
developments that
Well-
are thinking about coming forward, and their wells are starting to be jeopardized with the way the weather is and all that stuff. And I tried to assure the one resident that we are looking into different things.
Yep.
We have nothing concrete yet.
Nope.
But I think an informational situation like this would go a long way, because it'll open the door up to a lot of questions that they might not feel comfortable to come forward by themselves, to do it that way. So I think it's a positive thing.
Yeah.
And I think it keeps us transparent.
Yeah, absolutely.
and getting something like that started will probably make it easier for people, for ratepayers or whatever, for a second one or whatever, or don't wait for a meeting, because,
We want them to feel comfortable that they can come to us, and
Well,
I think that this is a good start to get something on the table. It's just unfortunate we couldn't have it before with COVID and whatnot.
18 months. Yeah.
Not that blaming it on anything, but now that we're up and running and revamping as we go our system here, we could, if people don't feel comfortable coming here or having an open house or whatever, we could do it online as well.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. There's no way we're gonna
Yeah.
open it up for hundreds of people
Right.
with the technology we've got there now. A good one is the transfer stations. I'm hearing some good positive feedback when we brainstorm it. It
See, the
used to
thing-
be both nights or both, we're open, now we've staggered it, we've opened it up. I think that's a positive. Does it cost us more money? Absolutely, but because of the city don't want any RN residents coming in there with small loads.
Yeah.
I think we as a council, we spend an hour or two saying, okay, we brainstormed it. I think it's working fine.
I don't want to extend the meeting. Have you heard anything about the negotiations or the number for our property for the proposed lagoon? So, no.
No, I have no new updates for that, sorry, Kurt.
No. I'm going.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
With all this, we need to keep in mind, a lot of people don't have a very adequate service for the internet and that, so we'll have to collaborate and see if we can do it like by the phone,
Yeah.
if they're comfortable with that,
Yeah,
or
absolutely.
we can have a few inside, depending on the numbers, stuff like that. But if we gotta do two,
So
I don't have a problem with that.
I like the
I don't
idea,
need to accommodate.
I like the idea of just a simple phone call. I mean, just stick it in.
And like Kurt says, they can always write up a letter and their questions and stuff like that, and drop them off, and then we can address those as well at the same time. I think it's a wonderful idea, and if any of the residents have any suggestions, by all means.
But
I always say
was
the
the
door
key.
is always open.
I get a lot of inputs and ideas, like that text I sent you the other day.
Yeah.
I think just a learning, bring that loose gravel in, pack it in there, might, like I say, I think even our public works guys would learn from good expertise.
Yeah.
No, I think the information we need to ratepayers late October, early November, when it gets, and it can't be in a weekend thing. No, I'm serious. I mean, we'll try to, They're playing this year. Oh, we got a lot of residents that do weekend games, so we want to be.
Could have it on Halloween, that we could all dress up.
Or we could grow a beard and don't dress up.
You mean you're not dressed up now?
No, no, I think it would be. I really.
No, it's an excellent idea, and me personally, I don't have a problem. with that. I don't have a problem with that. We're here for the residents,
Exactly.
and I think the residents, when they get more involved, it'll work out there. In my opinion. Okay, is there anything else?
Road upgrades, are they, we didn't have a transfer, like the roads that we budget for, are they all done?
No.
No, no, just,
So Spring Valley Road is done, Lord Road is
Yep.
done, but we've held off on,
The one up
Brandon.
here.
Brandon Hills, too dry or what?
Well, no, I think pile of gravel went too wet
Oh,
after the big rain.
Yeah.
okay.
What I understand.
yeah, I think.
And that's understandable because that is like concrete out there now. It's almost. That bylaw there was, I think there's some speed now because there's no dust in it, it's no washboard. That's one disadvantage.
We created a road.
Yeah, but anyways, it just, I was just wondering.
I got my wish, the daily road's done. Smooth, come the autobahn now.
I'll just watch.
I gotta go and check that out. I gotta go and check that out.
No, for the 70 grand, I think they did a good job.
Yeah.
And it was good.
Okay, moving on. Notice of motion.
No notice of motion?
Has anybody got anything else? I'll call for adjournment.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Call for the question over.
What is this?
So you put off the call.
Is that somebody wait for the?
This is about the amendments to the noise bylaw and some of the existing factors in the noise bylaw. So I did notice that the list of prohibited noises are any time of day. That was the existing bylaw that didn't change in the amendments to the bylaw. So my question is, like, why wouldn't the prohibited noises be from a certain time of day, like for a quiet time? Like for a 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. timeframe? The only thing that is in that timeframe is the excavation, I think, and construction. But all these other prohibited noises are throughout the day, like, I mean, things like, you know, using a bicycle bell, right, or starting a motor vehicle, as suggested, could be prohibited any time of day as it stands. So I would like to recommend that the prohibited noises be only from, my idea would be 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. or similar to the excavation, which would be 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. So that would be my first suggestion on the noise bylaw. My second suggestion is in terms of the addition where it talks about the ATVs and motor vehicles. There was a section in there about requiring that it would make property owners liable for other persons using a motor vehicle or an ATV producing that sound on their property, which would make property owners liable for trespassers if we include other persons, right? Because it does include guests and get the wording off the top of my head, but I believe that other persons should be removed so that the property owner isn't liable for trespassers on the property. And the other thing that I noticed was that excessive barking from dogs was not included on the bylaw. So I was just hoping that we would consider that as a added item. And that's it.
Can I make a comment?
Go for it.
Yes,
I'll get
yes.
Donna to explain a lot of the wording, but the reason this bylaw was, we just actually talked about it, because there was not much on the agenda, Lana, is last January, February, we had a request from a large gravel company that moved into the area to get an exemption. And instead of, especially, I'm not sure if they call any other counselor, the pressure's on the individual counselor over the phone, can I get it? I said, no, go right to Donna, let her, so Donna puts out an email to the affected council members. And I said, no, but that's not working. Let's put it in the bylaw, or let's get a resolution that any exemptions has to come through council via a resolution. That's why that bylaw was put on the agenda that you folks seen out there. It had nothing to do, or else Donna put it in there. All these other things have been in there for years, but the intent of bringing that bylaw to council, the change that we did make was to basically, if a bylaw or a noise exemption will be granted, it has to be via resolution. Then, obviously, when you read the minutes, you guys will have an opportunity to phone up your council members, read the CEO, or put it in writing, you object. So that all these other things that you just mentioned, and I've seen them on, like, people were texting me, I said that was not the intent of that. I wanted a resolution from council so the media or the public can see what we're about to grant. So I'll let Donna,
Yeah.
go all those other ones
Yeah,
there.
so with regard to the clauses or the new definitions that were placed in there, and then that one particular clause about the noise and the property owner being responsible, those came as a request from our constable to have them placed in there. And the reason is that over the last number of years, we have had unpermitted dirt bike tracks that have appeared on properties located adjacent to residential areas. So you can imagine the complaints that he was receiving. But he didn't have any authorization to ticket the actual property owner who was allowing the dirt bike tracks to occur.
Okay, I think there's two different things there, right? So are they, if they're allowing it, then they're granting them property access to the.
Yeah,
property?
so that's the
Right.
intent, where you're talking about a trespasser coming onto your property. So I've written that down to discuss that with Constable Drader if there needs to be some different wording in there. But if you have a trespasser on your property and he's called for a noise bylaw infraction, I'm going to assume that he will talk to the property owner, and if you say to him, that's not a guest of my property, I did not invite him in here, I can't see that he would ever give you the ticket as the property owner in that.
Mhm. I think that we should just probably eliminate the wording of other persons, because it does open the door to being liable for the trespassers. That's my only recommendation on that. I just think that wording.
Yeah, so that's, when I got the phone calls and I thought, why was everybody so upset about the bylaw? We were just adding a few
Yeah.
clauses in there, and then, like, I can see when you're saying that you're concerned about the trespassing issue. That wasn't something that, of course, we thought of, but I'll definitely talk to Constable Drader about that particular issue, because he's the one that enforces the bylaw, so, yeah. It definitely wasn't there for.
Yeah, no, I noticed it, and I know that there are people who do trespass, and I just am concerned about property owners that I know who may be held responsible for people who haven't been granted permission.
Right, yeah, no, that's a good,
concern.
that is a good thing. And you're right about the time, I know there's no time on there's never been a time on there with the exception of the brushing. But it's gonna have to be something pretty special for Constable Drader to have to go out, and usually it's a conversation at that point, right? But, and the dogs is not in this bylaw because the dogs is in our animal control bylaw. Excessive barking is not allowable, so if you have that, yeah, give Constable Drader a call.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I was told that there wasn't too much on a previous dogs barking at midnight situation, that there wasn't too much that they could do, and I was.
Is that the dog owner saying that or the other resident?
Well, word of mouth,
Yeah.
kind of both, and
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, I live out in these woods, since 82. And I'm in close contact with Darwin too, it comes up about time whatever, and I know offhand quite a few cases in the neighborhood, not lately, there's a lot more dogs, but over in the night, whatever, they're good, in my opinion, they're quiet. Little yapper here and there, but let's say about 5-8 years ago, we had quite a few, whatever, and then it goes like 1, 2, or 3 times a year, like Darwin knows the people, starts a fire, whatever, you know, and then he visits them, and then most time, it's a, you know, so he knows the area. But like I said, it's fairly quiet, it's Spruce Woods, proper, whatever, maybe, but even though even down through Sandy Road and Hoops Road, and it's not really for the amount of dogs are there, it's not really noisy, in my opinion. I know. But
no, I
it's
know,
not-
as long as it's in there, I think that if we're talking noise bylaw, I think that it's just part of the conversation.
Yeah, no,
So if
you're
it
right.
exists somewhere else.
Yeah, it does, yeah.
About the trespassers, that part of it, what are you concerned about? Have you had trespassers that are
Not on my
creating
personal
problems?
property, I have a fenced property, but I
Okay.
know of other properties where, people are crossing it without permission. And so if there's someone who decides that that property owner would be liable for the noise that the person's making on their dirt bike or ATV or whatnot, and that person hasn't been granted permission, then other persons on the property then would make the property owner liable whether or not they've granted permission. So I do know that it has occurred, not on my property, but on other properties. So, yeah. I
Within
mean,
Spruce Woods, you're talking, or on an acreage?
in Spruce Woods.
They're not supposed to be riding them anyway.
There's
Another
Just
conversation.
saying.
That's another conversation.
I know, yeah, I know, but the big thing is that I think Darwin is pretty lenient that way, and, you know, we put our trust into him that he's doing the right thing for the property owners. But if there's a situation where we definitely didn't think of the trespassers, but I don't think that Darwin would hold the landowner
Well, yeah, I don't think
responsible
so
for a
either, but then who
situation.
knows who's
like
gonna be
that.
after that, and then like if the wording is in there, it's just,
Yeah,
I think that
Yeah.
it's just unnecessary, and I think that it's just, I'm not asking you to scrap the whole thing. I could be asking you to scrap the whole thing, but I'm only asking you to scrap the parts that I
Right.
think are unreasonable.
Yeah, no, that's,
I think we need to get a clarification from Darwin on how to word it better.
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm glad that you brought these to our attention because we're only human,
Mhm.
right? And
That's,
we want everybody to be on the same page and to work together.
Lana, we just discussed that, just
Yeah,
before you go
exactly.
out, that in the fall, I've encouraged, asked Bill to call a ratepayers outside of a council meeting, whether we phone in, dial in, or who knows what COVID will bring, is a taxpayers informational engagement meeting. That's the kind of things that basically you guys, ratepayers can bring up. We don't have all the answers, right? I always like to
covering all the bases.
Yeah, no, yeah. And it came out of the original ATV bylaw, what the intent was. We didn't want to see kids getting run over out there. The gravel crushing is another one, a lagoon being built up there where a few residents were concerned. We want to, in my opinion, I'm never hesitant engaging taxpayers and telling and informing them what's coming down the pipe. We're not gonna please everybody, but at least, I always say, if you engage them, there'll be buy-in out there. And that, your questions, you just had, hang on to that notepad, because if the meeting ever comes, these are the things that, at least me as a counselor, want to learn from.
We want to do an open house too, once the numbers are better, and hopefully that'll make a lot of the residents more comfortable with council and what we're doing and what we're trying to do. And let them, like, open the door a bit with so many at a time to show them where KPD is and stuff like that, so that they feel comfortable to come here. You know what I mean? And to be able to voice your opinion. I hope that kind of eases the situation.
Oh, I felt comfortable coming.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. I thought that it was virtual and that's why I was late today, but like, definitely.
No, that's not a problem. We don't mind to accommodate.